actually begin for you surfing? Like
Dad, my old man. Dad body surfed till he was 89, and then he had a stroke.
89?
Yep. But Dad used to, holidays we were always taking us to Maroochydore or Currumbin. We used to camp at Currumbin on the weekends, and Dad bought a 16-foot plywood board for £3 and said, you know, for my brother Peter and I, who's older than me, 18 months older. I hated the thing. I was 12 years old and I couldn't stand that rocking toothpick 16-foot plywood board. It just nosedived every time I took off on a wave. So I went back home that week and found a sheet of plywood and cut it up, and I made a little 4-foot bodyboard, like equivalent to a bodyboard today. And I started surfing on that at age 12. I made my first board. And then after that I made a balsa board. I bought an old beat up one for £10 and tore the glass off, reshaped it, got it glassed again for another £10. So by the time I was 15, I'd made a couple of boards. Yeah. And by the time I was 17, I got the sack from the radio station where I was working. I was working at 4BH in Brisbane as a panel operator and the office boy. And they gave me the sack because my Mondays I was a no-show.
Because you're out here?
I was out surfing here all weekend, or Caloundra or Noosa. So by age 17, 1961, I was a free agent, just hitchhiking around, living on the smell of an oily rag and surfing. 7 days a week, 5-6 hours a day, 8 hours a day. Just loving it.
I feel like I'm very much in surfing royalty. I've got surfing royalty right here.
Mate. I just kept doing it, that's all. I just kept surfing. And most of my old mates didn't. And plus, I'm in the industry, I make surfboards, and I love making surfboards. So, you know, those two powerful forces do give me a bit of weight, but I'm just another guy having a dig and having a bit of fun.
Just a regular bloke?
Absolutely, of course.
Yeah?
Yeah, just, all Aussies are, aren't they? There's no room for tall poppies in this country.
Not at all. They don't last long.
They don't last long. No, you got to. Yeah, we're all the same. We're all brothers on this planet. We're all come from the same source.
Yeah.
We're all related. Why should somebody think he's better than someone else?
Yeah. Is that like a value? Is that a mantra that you've always had?
Oh yeah. If any gifts we've got, any talents we got, we're given them. You know, it's not like you earned them. You know. I've got more respect for it. I got more respect for people who work and show loyalty, integrity, honesty. I love those qualities. And that's how a person rates in my eyes, is how, if they can manifest those qualities. That's very admirable and lovable.
And a lot of people have probably said, or they have said, I know they've said it, those very same qualities about yourself.
Oh, I try. And I think as you get older, it's really good to be able to keep positive and keep looking forward to manifesting better qualities in your life if you can, you know. There's no point in going backwards.
Pioneered the shortboard. I mean, you know, everyone was riding longboards.
Yeah.
Did people look at you a little bit strange when you decided to?
No, it was a push. And I was one of a bunch of people. I mean, I might have been more energised than the others, and so I had sort of a certain leadership role. So I believed I could see where it was going to go, so I was pushing it, but I had a big gang of surfers who wanted to do it as well. You know, named Nat Young, Batty Trelaw, Ted Spencer, Russell Hughes, fantastic surfers, and they were on board for the ride. Yeah, we were going to make this shortboard, and we're going to make it. We're going to go like this on waves instead of just like this. Yeah. And we made it happen in 1967. Yeah. And took it to Hawaii and California.
Yeah.
It was quite a breakthrough time. I had to make a decision in January '67 to throw off all shackles and go, forget about the history of surfing, forget about the influences from California and Hawaii. We've just got to go with this thought now of being able to shrink the size of a board, stand on top of the fins, and get the vertical element into it, you know. And I made up my mind in January '67 I was going to do it. So in 12 months we brought the average surfboard length from 9'6" to 7'6". The year after we brought it down to 6'2" or 6'3", the way it is today. But we committed to it, and by the end of '69 it was a fait accompli.
Yeah.
And the whole planet just swung over and went that way. if anything, I'd say that's a gift that I've been born that way, that I tend to think out of the box.
Yep.
And it's nothing to do with me as being a hero. I'm just born that way.
Yeah.
I tend to think laterally and see the different way to do something. I don't mind the old standard ways if they're real and solid and viable, but a lot of them aren't, you know. So I'm happy to question the system, question the tried and proven, and look at alternative ways to do things. I really enjoy that.
Yeah. In questioning the system, have you been known to be a bit of a rebel?
I was a rebel.
Years, a bit of scallywag?
Yeah. I was, in the 60s there was a lot less law. So, you know, so things I was doing were probably technically misdemeanors, but there wasn't much law around, you know. So, like stowing away to Hawaii and stuff, but...
What made you do that?
I wanted to ride big waves. I wanted to get to Hawaii. The boat was going. They had plenty of room. I didn't weigh much.
What does it feel for you when you're out there?
Well,
when you actually ride away?
It's nothing mystical. It's nothing spiritual. It's spiritual in the sense that you're in the Creator's realm and you're out there enjoying His creations. You know, so it's spiritual in that regard. But there's no high in it like we used to think back in the old days. You know, that you'd achieve nirvana by riding the perfect barrel and stuff. You know, that was all dope talk. You know, it was pointless. No, it's just. One, it's an incredible physical sport, so it works every muscle in your body. It's creative because every wave's different and you've got to figure out how to handle it. Every day is very different, every surf break is different, and so it's always interesting, and you're always playing chess with the ocean, you know, trying to manoeuvre a situation that you get a great ride out of it, you know. Yeah. And but meantime you're surrounded with all this. Pretty good, isn't it?
Oh. Got a great office.
Yeah. That's all. It's gliding across the ocean, powered only by natural forces. You're making it all come together, you know, with your own knowledge and experience and skill, and it's a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful sport for all kinds of people, you know, at all ages, because it just gives you a buzz. You're just stoked.
What's Byron mean for you?
Well, I came here when I was a little kid, you know, I was 12, Dad first took me down here, and Mum and Dad, 6 kids, and fell in love with the place then when I was 12, because it was just a rural outpost. And when I started travelling up and down the coast, heaps of times through the 60s, like, you know, I must have travelled up from Sydney to the Gold Coast 40, 50 times, 60, 70 times. Always go through Byron, and the people were so hospitable. They were a lovely bunch of people in this town. And yeah, I got chucked in jail for having long hair, mind you. The cop was hard.
What?
Yeah.
You're kidding?
Yeah, I was right there, over there, camped, and cops came walking around the corner, grabbed me by the hair, me and my mate Terry, swung us around, chuffed in the Falcon, took us down to this cop shop, pulled the last 10 bob out of my pocket, that's all I had, gave it to the barber and said, give him a 1/4 inch haircut.
What?
But that cop kept this town decent. He'd pick up, you know, the 14-year-old girls that were out too late at night and run them home. And tell the parents to smack their bottoms, you know, like a bunch of bikies hit town, 10 bikes lined outside the pub, he'd push the bikes over and say, get out of town, you know, one cop could do that. And he was, you know, I respected the law then, you know, even though I was skirting it. But the Byron was an amazing town, hospitable and yet run by one hell of a tough cop. But everyone was nice. So then, when I wanted some powerful waves, and we invented the shortboard, I wanted some gutsy waves. I was living at Noosa before that, and the waves were generally too small to go vertical. So I moved here because you had Lennox Head down the road, which is commonly 6, 8 foot, you know, so plenty of room to carve and drive on it. So I moved to Byron and Lennox, been in this area for the last 40 years because we've got a huge choice of waves here. Huge. I mean, there's 15 surf breaks between my house and my factory. 15 possible surf breaks. And they work in all different wind conditions and swell conditions. That's wonderful.
Wow.
Can't beat, plus you've got best cappuccinos on the planet and great food. Yeah, it's crowded, but you just got to pretend, you just realise you're living in a tourist town and drive slowly, put up with the traffic.
Yeah.
But you know, all the benefits outweigh that by far.
Great food, great people, great coffee, great surf.
pretty good combo.
I reckon that's a great combo.
Yeah.
And mate, what about there's plenty of people that come here. There's tourists from all over the world, and you know, this is our backyard. And like, so what does it mean to you to really, you're like an Aussie icon? What does it mean to be Aussie for you?
Well, I'm I'm not at all nationalistic. I'm not interested in being an Australian icon or whatever. I'm a citizen of the world like everyone else. Only men drew dots and borders on this planet. You know, that's crazy. I don't buy into nationalism and patriotism at all. I think it's a poisonous force that creates wars and divisions and enemies and suspicions and all the political rubbish that goes on. So no, I don't buy into that one.
Yeah.
No, I'm just another guy on the planet, like the other 6.5 billion.